There are 7 people running for sheriff. KPBS reached out to all of them and heard back from 3. We caught up with those 3 on the campaign trail.
I'm John Hammerling. I am the candidate for sheriff here in 2022. I am endorsed by the Republican Party. I am a 30-year plus public servant. Between my time in the Marine Corps, my time at the San Diego Police Department, and my time at the City Attorney's Office as the Chief Criminal Prosecutor.
I'm Kelly Martinez. I've been with the Sheriff's Department for 37 years. I've worked my way up through the ranks, and I'm currently the undersheriff. I run the day-to-day operations of the department.
My name is Dave Myers, and I am running for San Diego County Sheriff, born and raised here in San Diego. I spent 35 years in law enforcement. I've worked my way up through the Sheriff's Department to commander.
We asked the candidates what they thought was the biggest issue facing the Sheriff's Department. John Hammerling says it's the high number of deaths in San Diego jails. A state audit says the department should require mental health screenings at intake and more interaction between nurses and inmates, among other changes.
First thing is to make sure all of the things that were recommended from the state audit were implemented. I think there's many other things that they talk about in there. Some of the best practices from the board, from the state board as well, that can be looked at. There's some best practices from the national boards as well that we're going to take a look at.
Kelly Martinez says it's hiring more staff, which leads to better care in jails.
We lost a lot of people in the last couple of years, so we need to hire about 400 people, both nurses and deputies. And then once, the hiring is so key because all of the other things hinge on having enough staff.
Dave Myers says the biggest issue is restoring trust in the department.
Sheriff's leadership has created an environment in which mistrust is the status quo in the sheriff's office. That this current status quo is not going to stop jail deaths. That the status quo in sheriff's leadership now is not going to address racial bias in policing.
Hammerling is an assistant city attorney in San Diego. He says his leadership experience makes him most qualified for the job.
I spent almost a decade as a police officer working. Most of that time was in City Heights, where I worked a beat there in City Heights. I left there as a field training officer. I then went to law school while I was working at the San Diego Police Department, working my beat to become a better person for the community, a better person for myself.
Martinez, currently the undersheriff for the department, says she has direct experience leading the department.
Nobody knows the Sheriff's Department or our county better than I do. And I've already been working towards all of these changes and initiatives that we need to make our community safe.
Meanwhile, Myers, who's a retired sheriff's commander, says he can help diversify the department.
Create an environment in which the department of 4,700 positions reflects the community we're policing. That the community, members who want to be in law enforcement, live in the communities we're policing.
The sheriff is a nonpartisan office, but party politics still play a role in the race. Hammerling was an independent voter, but in 2020 changed to the Republican Party and has their backing. He says despite the county's majority of Democrat voters, he can be elected.
No matter where you fall on the political spectrum, you want to be safe in your neighborhood. It's the number one job of government is to be safe, to provide safety and security and public safety.
Meanwhile, Martinez was a Republican but changed her party to Democrat in November 2020 and has the backing of many well-known Democrats, including San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria. She says her decision to change parties was personal.
It was made before I decided to run for sheriff, but the sheriff's not partisan. The job of public safety really doesn't fall on one party or another.
Myers also changed his party from Republican to Democrat in 2016 and has the endorsement of the local Democratic Party. He ran for sheriff in 2018 and lost, but says it'll be different this time.
I was a full-time commander at the time. What's different this time is I'm retired. I'm not a full-time commander. I'm not getting picked on. I'm not getting marginalized. I'm not getting discriminated against.
The top 2 vote-getters in the primary June 7th will advance to the November general election. Claire Tregeser, KPBS News.